Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is going to be exciting because the topic is exciting as well. I would assume that most of you are written CSS. Little, and some of you are like many CSS developers, CSS genius, or CSS genius here. Geniuses. A few. Okay. If you're not, really good in CSS, this topic is really good. But I have a joke. The joke for today is why do CSS developers prefer dark mode? Dark mode users, right? Oh, why do you prefer dark mode? For your eyes? Really? But actually, based on the history, long time ago, because light attracts bug. That's why a lot of CS developers don't want to use light mode. Yeah, especially if you're in Asia, you're gonna have these flying big ants that they migrate, and then there's like thousands of them, and then they're in your light bulb or on your PC. You don't want that. Yeah. Um, Anyways, yeah, the title for today is the future of utility first, CSS. This is about Tailwind and how you would use it. Why is it good, right? And why is it first impression is bad? I mean, it looks ugly. Um, yeah, we're gonna explore and then version 3, version 4 comparison, and then you'll see V4 is revolutionizing the way we build enterprise applications. We'll see why companies are moving away from traditional SaaS and or CSS and embracing utility first CSS. So utility first CSS. That's the keyword here. And by the end of this talk, you'll understand how Tailwind V4 makes enterprise development faster, more maintainable, and more scalable. And I cannot see my keys here. So again, I grew up in Manila, Philippines, and I moved to Norway 6 years ago. And I did a talk here last year about Tauri. If you would notice, I'm still wearing the same shirt. And yeah, I wrote 3 books during the pandemic because I couldn't go home. I need to make myself productive. Co-written 2 Microsoft MVP, and also I'm reviewing the content for certification.dev, specifically for React. So let's be honest about the current state of CSS. Most companies have accumulated years of SaaS that nobody wants to touch. We've all been there, afraid to delete the class because it might be used somewhere. So, and then the build times keep getting longer. And every new developer needs weeks to understand the naming conventions. This is the reality we're trying to escape. And how Tailwind eliminates this? No naming needed. Everyone writes the same utilities. No conventions to debate. No naming to mess up. No inconsistency possible. It looks like that it is similar with Bootstrap CSS. Bootstrap, but actually not. Bootstrap gives you pre-built components that you customize by fighting against them, while Tailwind gives you utilities to build exactly what you want from scratch. That's why Tailwind eliminates naming conventions. You're not creating new CSS classes, just combining existing utilities. And then in Tailwind version 4 isn't just an update, it's a complete reimagining. The new Oxide engine, built with Rust, delivers performance that feels instant. These aren't marketing numbers that you see here. That's my lasers. These are real-world improvements. Incremental builds are now measured in microseconds, not seconds. This means your hot reload is instantaneous, keeping developers in the flow state. So let's address the concerns head-on, because a lot of front-end engineers have comments regarding the way you write Tailwind CSS, especially before, like 3 years ago, when Tailwind is fairly new. But the HTML looks messy. Yes, the HTML has more classes, but it's self-documenting, like your TypeScript, self-documenting, right? And then a lot of JavaScript developers before like hate TypeScript because of the verbosity. Anyways, you can see exactly what styles are applied without hunting through files. What about reusability? Reusability happens at the component level where it belongs. We need our custom design system. Your design system becomes stronger with Tailwind's constraints. What else? Our team knows SAS, and that team who knows SAS, they'll be begging you not to go back after a week with Tailwind. I've seen it happen dozens of times. Again, like TypeScript, I'm comparing TypeScript. Once you, like, few months in TypeScript, it's hard to go back to plain JavaScript because you just experience the features that TypeScript give you. So here's a real-world example every front-end dev relate to. Traditional SAS with files scattered across your project. You need variables, mix-ins, and component files. Making changes requires understanding the entire cascade. Tailwind version 4, everything is right there in your component. No context switching, no file hunting. Your IDE gives you autocomplete for every utility. And when you change something, you see it instantly. What else? Zero config. This is a game changer for web developer teams. Version 4 automatically detects your content files. No more maintaining long globe patterns. It respects your git ignore, excludes binaries, and it just works. The entire setup is one-line CSS. And compare this to the config files in version 3. This is version 3, by the way. You have these config files, post CSS setup, and plugin management of version 3, or the Webpack configurations needed for SAS. In version 4, you only have this one file only, your global CSS file. And this reduction in configuration complexity means fewer points of failure and easier onboarding. Hot reload is instant, not fast, but actually instant. So this is the Rust-based engine eliminates JavaScript overhead entirely. This isn't just about developer experience. Faster builds means faster CI/CD pipelines, which means faster deployments, right? And it saves money. And again, version 4 embraces modern CSS features that weren't available when version 3 was designed. For example, container queries let you build truly responsive components that adapt to their container, not the viewport. The new color mix function and the OKLCH, going to describe that later. This is a color space. Give you pragmatic color manipulation without JavaScript. Cascade layers solve specificity issues once and then for all. And these aren't experimental features. They're production ready in all modern browsers. Design systems are the heart of the enterprise applications. For example, here, before, SAS design tokens before, as you can see. And Tailwind, version 4 specifically after, with the @team directive, your design tokens live in CSS, not JavaScript or SAS variables. They're real CSS custom properties, which means they can be dynamic, change at runtime, and even animated. So the OKLCH, color space, ensures consistent perceived brightness across your palette. If you don't know OKLCH, here it is. It is a perceptually uniform color space designed for modern web design. It's becoming, or it become increasingly relevant as browsers add support for it in CSS. Where's my laser, my fake laser? Actually, it's my mouse. Yeah, here's the syntax, and this is what it stands for. So this is a modern web, by the way. And lastly, your entire design system becomes type safe with IDE support. No more typos in color names or spacing values. Just again, just like TypeScript, you have this type safety, right? And let me show you how fast we can build production-ready components. The dashboard card would typically require multiple SAS files, but with Tailwind 4, we can build it inline. And notice how the hover states, for example, this pseudo here, responsive behavior and animations are all collocated with the component. No context switching, no file hunting. The component is self-contained and portable. Copy it anywhere, and it just works. It's like compositions. It just works no matter where you put it. And you can customize your styling in Tailwind that will lead to cleaner HTML code. And this will be in cascading order, so you will have consistent architecture. And these are not arbitrary, and you have to write their names. For example, the @team, again, define custom design tokens as CSS variables. These automatically become utilities you can use in your HTML. And you have to write it like this, the @team. And another one, @layer base. So it adds global base styles for HTML elements, runs in Tailwind's base layer. Lowest is specificity. Best for typography defaults, elements resets, and global styles. So again, you have to write it like that, @layer space base. Another one, @layer components. Add component classes for reusable pieces of UI. Runs in Tailwind's components layer. It's a medium specificity. No type safety here because you're not creating utilities here. However, here, @utility, for example, my cool utility, it creates simple custom utility classes. Runs in utilities layer, high specificity, means it overrides components. This is best for single purpose utilities. Tailwind doesn't provide. If it's not existing thing, you can create your own, and it gives you, type safety while you're writing. And here is Tailwind in action. If you don't know Tailwind, here it is. You can hover your mouse, and you can see the real CSS behind it. And it's so quick, so fast. You can change it and see the results, and you have this type safety or code completion here. Right, and see, it changed right away. So this is just a quick overview of Tailwind in action. And now, ShadCN is very popular. So why ShadCN became popular? ShadCN UI success proves the utility-first approach. Works at scale. It's not a traditional component library. It's a collection of copy-paste components built with Tailwind. This gives you complete control while maintaining consistency. And we call this design model as transparent, because this is totally different from your UI library or your normal UI library where you import it and you don't know, you cannot see the source code, right? Except if you go to the node modules. But here in ShadCN, that's why it's very, very popular. It looks like this. Maybe I should let you see it. So this is ShadCN in action. When you add component from ShadCN, it goes to a default folder of what you define. It could be like components/UI, and just import like this. And then this here, from this address here, this is actually in your repo, not in a node module. So that's a difference, right? Because normally we're used to, if you're an Angular developer or a Vue.js developer, React developer, you have this UI library, and when you import, this is coming from the NPM packages. But here in ShadCN, this is part of your repo that you define. And you can edit it. That's the value of it. You have this base code that you can edit it anytime. It's yours. It doesn't owned by ShadCN, and looks like this again. Here it is. This is I copy paste or install it here through Shadsi and CLI, accordion, avatar, button, calendar. And you can see it's not hidden behind the node modules. It's in your components, and you can edit it. And you can, it's not only you can edit it, you can see the best practice of how to create an abstraction or reusable components. You can just study the code here. And this is how you would use Tailwind to abstract and to not make it messy. Because again, the most complaint, this Tailwind CSS utility sucks. If it's so long, it's like this. Even my two monitors couldn't handle. But that's not the way you write it, right? You should like abstract it. And another screenshot, if you're a WebStorm lover, it looks like this. So this is actually how you create reusable components. Again, not reusable CSS classes, but reusable components if you are not going to use Shadsi UI library. And it's not only for React. It is also available in Vue and Angular. Here it is. Shadsi and Vue and Spartan NG. It's this different here in Angular. Okay, so advanced features in the latest version 4 as of today. So version 4.1 brings cutting edge CSS features that eliminate JavaScript for any interactions. Anchor positioning lets you create tooltips and popovers with pure CSS. Style queries enable component variants based on custom properties. The improved group and peer states handle complex interactions without single line of JavaScript. This isn't just about reducing bundle size, it's about simplifying your architecture and improving performance. And here's a form component everyone needs. The SAS version requires careful organization state management and grows complex with variations, right? This is SAS. So most of you, I would assume, have encountered SAS long time ago. I mean, long time until now. Who's maintaining a project using SAS? And then I have a migration guide here. I'm gonna do it later. So the Tailwind side, zero custom CSS. Everything is co-located. It's accessible by default with ARIA states. Copy this into any project, and it works immediately. This is the power of utility first. Complex UI with zero CSS files. And this is where Tailwind really shines for your web application teams. And this is what I like about Tailwind when I first encountered it. And after using it a few weeks. So instead of managing complex media query mixins and separate responsive CSS files, everything is in line with simple prefixes. The mobile-first approach is built in. Again, mobile-first approach is built in. This is perfect for responsiveness. So you design for mobile by default, then add breakpoint prefixes for larger screens. So this ensures your app works perfectly on mobile devices. And the best part, junior developers can make components responsive on day one. Trust me. They don't need to understand media query syntax or SAS mixins. Just add prefix, and it works. Look at this. MD colon means tablet and up. LG colon means desktop and up. It's that simple. You can see exactly how a component behaves at every breakpoint just by reading the classes. No more jumping between files to understand responsive behavior. Let's go to ecosystem. We're almost end of our slides. Vercel, v0.dev, generates Tailwind by default. GitHub Copilot, trained extensively on Tailwind patterns, believe it or not. Component libraries, Shadsi, Catalyst, Tailwind UI. Frameworks, Next.js, Remix, Nox, all default to Tailwind, by the way. So if you're going to use JavaScript frameworks today, most of them are defaulted to Tailwind. So whether you like it or not, you're going to face Tailwind, right? AI tools, Claude, ChatGPT, write better Tailwind than custom CSS. They trained in, I'm going to, React developers here, you're going to be happy if I tell you something secretly. Do you know that AI coding models are trained better in React? It's really good. If you're using GitHub Copilot, it's gonna be worth it to if you're in React. I'm not saying it's bad if you're Vue.js and Angular, but most of the coding models are good in React because the ecosystem is big, right? As well as the Tailwind CSS. It's being fed in coding AI models. Anyway, migration strategy. Migration doesn't have to be big bang. Start by running Tailwind alongside your SaaS, and there's a lot of SaaS here, developers. They coexist perfectly. Build new features with Tailwind while maintaining existing SaaS. And as components need updates, you can migrate them. And again, we're here now. Takeaways, let's recap what Tailwind V4 means for you or for your enterprise. It's not just faster, it fundamentally changes how teams work. The zero config setup means less to break. The design system integration means inconsistency at scale. The ecosystem support means you're joining industry standard, not taking a risk, because again, most coding models are trained with Tailwind and good at Tailwind. Teams using Tailwind V4 ship faster with fewer bugs and happier developers. And bottom line, in today's market, that's competitive advantage you can't ignore. And the barrier to entry has never been lower. You can just install Tailwind V4, add one line to your CSS, and you're ready. Start with one component, one feature, one page, and your team will quickly see the benefits, and adoption will happen naturally. If you're using VS Code, their official Tailwind CSS IntelliSense plugin includes a dedicated Tailwind CSS language mode that has support for all of the custom rules and functions Tailwind uses. And for WebStorm users, it supports Tailwind CSS by default. And here are the resources. Resources are incredible. Shadcn for components, Tailwind UI for templates, LLMs for coding. I use Claude all the time, the latest Claude, it's really good. And also I heard GPT-5 codex is really also good in front end, by the way. So you should try this too, which fits you, Claude 4.5 and GPT-5 codex. So yeah, the future of CSS utility first, and that future is here today. My social links, SAS Evaristo. So if you have questions, you
Yes.
can answer
Are
it.
there any questions? No questions? No, I think.
They're shocked.
Everything was covered perfectly, I think.
Yeah, I think I covered everything, including the migration. So, but there are a few questions here. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Thank you. I was wondering, are there Tailwind CSS has the issue that we saw that you have to write a lot of stuff into a single component, but this can be solved with proper abstractions and other classes. Is there any, not per se standard way, but a recommended architecture or a proper abstraction level where you can structure your project and, let's say, improve a bit the readability and avoid the verbosity or having too many things at all time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the question was how to make it readable in a sense, right? How you would write it readable for developers. There are many ways of doing it. I could think of one quick is using an extension in VS Code that contract the Tailwind CSS. It's a Tailwind something. You can see it. You can find it in the VS Code extension. It will just like contract all the Tailwind utility classes in just a symbol of Tailwind. So that's one. Another way of making it readable and to avoid actually bugs is to use a prettier Tailwind plugin. I forgot the name, but I'm using it in my repo. So it's a prettier plugin for Tailwind. So when you save, it will just remove duplicate utilities in your component and just structure it, which one is in a proper way that Tailwind will should read it in a way. What else? Creating an abstraction, right? And you can see some examples of that in a Tailwind website, that how you would write it. And those are the three things that I could think of: abstraction, and then, yeah, you just create a shareable or reusable component to make it easier for developers to read it. Good. Anyone else? Anyone who would like to try Tailwind CSS in their existing project? But you have to tell your manager first. But again, this is the future. JavaScript frameworks are defaulting to Tailwind if you generate it from their boilerplate. So, and models again are trained in Tailwind CSS. It's good. We have another player here. Another question. Yeah.
So what I'm asking, like, I'm a junior developer. Right now, I'm trying to figure out myself if I want to be full stack, maybe web development, maybe backend, maybe frontend. But my mainly question is that I've seen, from what I understood from your presentations, Tailwind is similar to React. What are the differences between React? Yes, React and Tailwind.
Okay. So question was, what's the difference between Tailwind and React? Oh, React is a UI library. You use it to build components, right? And if you want to style that component, you would need CSS. And this is where Tailwind comes. It helps you write CSS easier. And yeah, you can use both of them. So Tailwind is for styling and organizing your layouts, while React is a UI library for building components. Mhm. Anyone here who still hates Tailwind CSS, or who's like, it looks bad, it's still bad? I mean, you could be honest, but again, it's the future. We just have to embrace it like Copilot. Oh, wait, we have another question. I think it will be the last question. Let's see. Just embrace the newest technology, guys. AI, Tailwind.
So not so much a question, but just a comment on what you said about looking bad. I find that all utility CSS frameworks, starting from Bootstrap, moving on to now Tailwind, which we also use, have this problem of making the template readable. As the person previously asked about making the classes readable, a lot of teams tend to extract a lot of that into a separate CSS file for that component, and using the apply directive to essentially create classes in a different file, just more consolidated. So I find that personally, it's this cycle of trying to solve a problem of having CSS in many places and then extracting that CSS to make it readable to many places again, despite introducing this into the project. So it's, would you, I guess, the question would be, would you personally prefer having a less readable or more cluttered template in the end, going through a large file HTML template harder potentially? Or would you essentially have a secondary CSS file, but a cleaner one by using Tailwind with the apply directive? Was that clear? Was that?
Yeah, yeah. But it all boils down to, again, to cleaner or readability for improvements of developer experience, right? Because that's all we want. The DX is good. We can be productive. So DX comprises of how easier for you to learn, how easier for you to maintain it, or the team to maintain it, or the team to understand the code just by reading it for a few seconds, right? I guess when you get used to Tailwind, it comes easier. And it doesn't require you to create several CSS files. You can just run the global CSS and add some, because the CSS utilities already in most of the time enough for you to create your UI. However, if you want to change the color or the palette or some customization, you can just put it in the global CSS file. And it doesn't require you to write a lot, but for example, in my case, in my project, it's just less than 900 lines of CSS files, customization, because of the design system of the company that gave me. So it's not a lot. It's still readable, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And again, it reduces the bugs because of the cascading, which one is with the highest priority in specificity. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Good. I think you're
I
guys
think we are
hungry already. I can dismiss you now.
No, we have one more session before the
Oh, okay,
lunch.
sorry.
So-
Don't eat yet. It's not.
No.
I didn't say that actually. Sorry. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.